Very brief, or would you like to say more?
Sure, I'm a retired professor of physics and astronomy for City University. And my idea is education. I think that architectural schools have to know and incorporate into their curriculum the need to be green, the need to be environmental. I have a house in Vermont, which by aiming the windows that we have toward the south, in the wintertime it literally heats itself for the most part of the day. It sits on a pond or near a pond, and the pond freezes in the wintertime, and the pond acts as a giant parabolic mirror to the windows so that you get additional heating, so the house gets about 70 degrees in the 11-degree temperature of the Vermont background. So that it's using a solar environment that doesn't cost anybody anything, doesn't use power lines. I mean, there are many things you have to worry about. It's nothing is simple, and one has to realize that when you construct a solution, energy solution, or a green solution. That's it.
Okay, let's keep that in mind. Would you like to speak about who you are?
Oh, fine. My name is Jean Prendergast. I'm actually a psychologist, which really doesn't have the environment on the top of the list. But I have been active with this campaign in state after state since March of 2007, the first time I've ever become active. And it just...
The Obama campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
and led meetings and educate. And I have become such a believer that we really can, at a local level, change things. I have no doubt about it anymore. And I'd be very interested in keeping some workshops going, reaching out, getting people to think about things, teaching things in a hands-on way, if we could get the organization of what we need to know. For people here in New York City, we are a unique population here, so our environmental needs, it breaks my heart every time I can just recycle so few things here in the city. But I don't want to take up any more time. I'll pass it on to the next person.
Did everyone sign this, by the way? Who wants to sign? Oh, you did, okay.
My name is Elizabeth McGowan. I work for the EPA, first in headquarters, in environmental justice, the Office of Environmental Justice, and now I'm on detail in Region 2. The day that Obama won, I mean, people were shaky. I remember having talks with Johnson in trying to nail him on what he did about the California, crashing their plan, and he was very evasive. So we're looking forward to these new people. Lisa Jackson, she's a scientist, mechanical engineer, which is good, and Carol Bonner or Bronner, I never get it. Brown. I had to write her in my database. I never got her name right. But she was at the beginning of environmental justice, 1994, very early on. So that's their history. So we're very excited about Obama. I personally am working on mercury in fish. You may have heard some of the press about mercury in fish. And it's very frustrating because I'm dealing on micrograms per liter, like it makes a difference. But really, why can't we clip mercury at its source? It's akin to global warming.
Congratulations to the EPA for their one-year moratorium on any coal-fired power plants. That was a really exciting, tremendously exciting announcement just a few weeks ago.
You're absolutely right about the coal. That's the demon.
Yeah, we know about you.
Yes.
And
my name is Joel Cherubin. I'm a retired educator. And I'm sorry, the gentleman who's the physicist stepped out, but I wanted to mention something with regards to what he was saying and jumping into various new ideas to get energy without fully understanding the impact. My wife and I have a house in upstate New York, and wind power has become a big issue up there, not far from our home. There is a whole field, in fact, an entire county that's covered with wind turbines up around Utica. And I would say there's probably 75 to 100 towers, all within a very small area. And when they first started putting those towers up, they were going full speed, creating electricity from wind, and we were saying, yay, I mean, this is clean. What terrible thing could this possibly do? It's got to be a little positive. And then last summer, we took a trip up there, and I noticed that only maybe 2 or 3% of the towers were spinning. The rest were not. And I was very curious as to why this was happening. At first I thought they were down for maintenance, but why would they have them all down for maintenance practically? So I asked around, and I found out that they're creating so much electricity that the power lines can't handle it. Because of the power lines up there were built in the 40s, 1930s and 1940s. They have not been updated, and they're producing more electricity than the power lines can handle, so they had to take them offline. And I know Barack Obama has mentioned
National
infrastructure.
Yeah, the whole grid has to be rebuilt.
Right, the need for the infrastructure. And I think one of the things that needs priority, since we already have the towers, for good or for bad, we have those wind turbines, and they can produce electricity. But now they're just sitting there idle because of the poor infrastructure we have as far as the power.
That's a
I'd just like to-
controversial issue.
I'd like to
That's-
address
we gotta keep
that issue just very, very briefly. I've just gotten a report that was done quite recently about states being able to, a new sort of paradigm for how to do this, is that the states would generate their own energy and utilize their own energy so that there's no necessity for a national power grid. Each state would have it, and when they produce more than enough, they can export it perhaps to other states or to nearby states. But this is an idea that it had not occurred to me, and it was very carefully researched. I can send this out to everybody who signed my email list.
This also, and just in a follow-up, we live in a small town in Andes, New York, which is in upstate Delaware County, and they've tried to introduce the wind towers to our community, and there's been a lot of anger about it. The local people, full-time local people, are very much in favor of the wind towers. The weekenders are very much against the wind towers for obvious reasons. And this battle's been going on for a couple of years now, and the town just recently voted for a moratorium on them, not to introduce wind towers for several years until we know more about them. Well, while this was happening, in came the gas exploration people, who want to now pump huge amounts of chemically treated water under our property to pump out gas and destroy the reservoir.
We need to talk. I've been working
Yes.
on this legislatively. There is a bill that Brooklyn Assemblyman Jim Brennan is working on. We'll talk about this.
So aren't
Let's-
they giving people money?
They're giving land leases to these farmers
I
who
know.
have huge amounts of
Don't have a
property.
lot of money, but they have
who are
property.
I know the whole
signing
issue.
away.
Let's talk about this
Yeah.
later.
have to use the bathroom.
Would you like?
Escobar, and I'm an artist. And two things that interest me are greening the rooftops in the city, because they say we could grow a lot of our own food, so it doesn't have to come from other places. And it's good for the air pollution, and community gardens.
Great idea. Yeah, I know people who are doing that. If you'd like to be connected with them, I can connect you.
I'm Selma Ruderman. I live in two places also. Nassau County was thinking of putting the wind things out in the ocean, and NIMBY came in. Not in my backyard. Not in my backyard.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So they decided to push it further out. Then there was a big problem, as you said, about the birds. In addition to that, there's also the problem of shipping lanes. So that it's on hold. But we had speakers at our last meeting on solar energy and also wind. And it seemed that everyone was sort of in Nassau County feeling that solar energy is the way to go for us more than the wind because of the problems in the ocean and the
Was that
birds.
was that project connected with Peter Mandel's